No, it's, well, we're going on a cruise.
Okay.
Around Japan. So there's a boat, has about 1,300 people on it, which is a medium size. And it goes around and stops at different ports,
Hold on, this isn't letting me pause.
excursions every day, and then
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12:06. I'll call to the order the Audit Committee meeting of the Local Development Corporation. It is Tuesday, March 26th. The following board members are here: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pally, Polakowski, Mr. Scheit, Mr. Braun, and on the Zoom, Mr. Grucci. First order of business are minutes of our meeting of September 20th, 2023. Have been sent to everyone. A motion to accept those.
so move.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Lori, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our accountants.
Okay, I want to introduce on our call, we have Jeff DeVoli, Elizabeth Casey. Jeff DeVoli is a partner from PKF O'Connor Davies. He handles our account. Elizabeth Casey is a senior manager at PKF O'Connor Davies. She handles our account and is responsible for the audit, both of them. And I think, Jeff, you're gonna present or
Yes,
speak.
good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Lori. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Sure.
Yeah, do we have to do anything special to have that happen?
Nope, it's on their end.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, I've got the right screen there. Always
Yep, we can see
afraid,
it.
always afraid of pulling up the pictures of my wife drinking wine in the bathtub. So,
Just record this.
Again, good afternoon. My name is Jeff DeVoli. I'm here to present the audit results for the LDC for the year ended December 31st, 2023. We have some presentations here. I will go very quickly through them, and I will email them to Fred and Lisa and Lori after the call so that they can forward them to you. Just a quick agenda for my portion of the presentation. We'll go through audit status. We'll go through responsibilities of us as your auditors, you as those charged with governance. We will fly through some audit scope and approach, some financial statement highlights, and then go through some required communications. Audit status is the audit is predominantly done. It's been done for a bit now. The only remaining items before we issue our report is an updated legal confirmation from outside counsel, signed management representation letters, all standard in all audits, and the board's acceptance of the financial statements. We anticipate that we're going to issue an unmodified or a clean opinion on your financial statements, which means that they are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. These are our responsibilities as your auditors. These are all outlined in our engagement letter. We've gone through these in the past, forming an opinion and express an opinion on the financial statements to ensure that they are in accordance with US GAAP, planning and performing the audit and freshen the standards. We consider internal control in our audit procedures, but we do not express an opinion on internal control. Accumulate misstatements. We always conduct our audits with professional skepticism. Some more responsibilities: communicating significant matters, all risks, significant deficiencies, material weaknesses identified, any fraud or illegal acts that we come across in our audit, and the process used by management to formulate particularly sensitive accounting estimates. So this is your responsibilities as management. And I'm just going to move this over to here. Selecting and using appropriate accounting policies, fairly stating the financial statements in accordance with US GAAP, establishing and maintaining effective internal
Jeff.
controls. Sorry?
Jeff, we don't
Yes.
have the right screen anymore.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry about that. Apologies.
That's okay. Sorry, I'm
Um,
sorry.
That's okay, thank you. Complying with laws and regs and providing all accounting records to us as your auditors. And then, of course, the management has to set proper tone at the top to encourage a culture of honesty and high ethical standards, designing and implementing policies and internal controls, and TCWG, which stands for those charged with governance, communicating with us as your auditors and overseeing the financial reporting process. These are what we consider significant audit scope items and approaches: cash, revenues, accounts payable and expenditures, payroll. Just some financial highlights. I'll go through these very quickly. And again, this is for the LDC. The net position of the agency was $428,000, compared to $465,000 for the prior year. Total assets were $439,000, mostly consisting of cash. Just some items on a net position, which is the balance sheet and statement of activities. Charges for services in 2023 total $10,000. Expenses decreased by $23,000 from $90,000 in 2022 in the areas of advertising, public relations, special projects, and so forth. Just some required communication. We are, as your auditor, required to communicate with you on certain matters relative to qualitative aspects of accounting policies broken into various categories. Accounting policies is one. I'm happy to report no matters have come to our attention that require us to inform you about the effects of significant accounting policies in controversial or emergent areas that lack authoritative guidance. Another significant area is accounting transactions, and no matters have come to our attention that require us to communicate with you on that. Use of estimates and management's judgments are always a big part of financial statements, and there are no accounting estimates that are particularly sensitive or significant to the LDC's financial statements. Financial statement disclosures. All financial statement disclosures are consistent and clear. We're required to communicate with you relative to going concern, and management has determined that there is no going concern issue here, which means that the agency will continue as a going concern for the foreseeable future, and we concur with that. We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management. We appreciate the cooperation of the entire staff in helping us complete the audit. Significant risks. These are items of significant risk in all financial statements: management, override, and financial statement presentation and disclosure issues. We had no disagreements with management. We request, as I mentioned earlier, certain representations from management in a separate letter that is required in all audits. We're required to communicate with you that management is not consulted with other accounting firms or audit firms that were considered opinion shopping. There were no items or matters discussed in our responses that were a condition to our attention as your auditors. Uncorrected misstatements. There were no prior period adjustments. And there's some disclosures on internal controls. And we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we considered to be material weaknesses. This is an example of the rep letter that management will be signing before we issue our financial statement. And that's it if there's any questions.
Questions from the board?
Fred, do we assume, or Lisa, that we will have any further projects? Because obviously we did not have one for 23, which is why expenses outnumbered revenues. Do we anticipate any in 24?
We don't have anything that's in the hopper but things appear out of nowhere sometimes. But right now, we don't have anything that we are working towards.
Okay.
But
If
we
you have a
will-
lead, we're happy to.
We'll be able to adjust some of the expenses for 2024.
And we
So the
did.
gap should not be as.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
high.
I mean,
Yeah.
just
The shared
a question of, I mean, there's plenty of cash to facilitate a period of time without any additional project.
Correct.
So that was the question more than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
We watched that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just a refresher, if I may. Was there a single project that caused the 23 or the 22 year end to accumulate that much cash? 47 or 48,000, yeah, what was it, $478,000 thereabouts?
Well, that's an accumulation since its inception. Actually, 22 cash.
No specific project during that year, Felix.
Okay, so in other
Yeah.
words, it was just a carryover from year over to year over
Yeah.
to year.
Yeah, there was $469,000 in cash at the end of 22. And then because of the lack of revenue, yet the incurrence of expenses, cash was 430. So there was a slight decrease in cash, but that is life to date cash balances.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there was a big project that the LDC did last year.
No, there was
No.
very similar revenues. There's about $15,000 in revenues in 22 and $10,000 in revenues, all just recurring charges in 2023.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No further questions. I entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Accept the audit. Accept the audit.
That's a
Accept the
good
audit.
point. I'll take a vote.
Okay.
Motion to accept the audit.
So
Thank you,
moved.
Gary. Second by Felix. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, I will entertain a motion to conclude the audit committee of the local development corporation.
So move.
Second,
Second.
Marty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
We will now open the meeting, the audit committee meeting for the Industrial Development Agency. It is 12:18. This is Tuesday, March 26th. The following board members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pally, Polakowski, Ms. Scheit, Mr. Braun, and via Zoom, Mr. Grucci. First order of business to accept our minutes of September 20th, 2023. The motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Lori, back to you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce everyone to our external auditors who will prepare a presentation for our audit for 2023. We have Jeff DeVoli, partner from PKF O'Connor Davies, also Elizabeth Casey. She's a senior manager from PKF O'Connor Davies. Jeff?
Thank you, Lori. Hello, everybody.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello again. Do you see my screen? Okay, very good. So this is the audit presentation for the audit of the financial statements for December 31st, 2023. I will fly through these as the discussion is very similar and duplicative to the LDC. They all similar disclosures and so forth apply to the IDA, and to keep us all from losing our will to live, I will go very quickly. Audit status, our responsibilities, your responsibilities, audit scope, some highlights and so forth. The financial statement audit is predominantly completed. The only thing outstanding is an update on the legal confirmation from outside counsel, signed representation letters, which is standard in all audits, and this board's acceptance of the financial statements. Here's our responsibilities. These are all outlined in the financial statement and the engagement letter. Some more, your responsibilities: selecting accounting policies, complying with laws and regs, setting the proper tone, and designing and implementing policies of internal controls. Those charged with governance, communicating with us, and overseeing the financial reporting process. These are what we consider significant areas in the audit: the scope and approach, cash, receivables and revenues, accounts payable and expenditures, and payroll. Just some financial highlights: the agency's assets and deferred outflows compared to its liabilities were $9.4 million. This is the net position of the IDA. It was $6.7 million. It increased by $2.7 million during the year, or 40%. Just some more disclosures here relative to some financial highlights. I'm sure Lori has gone through these ad nauseum with you, so I will spare you. Just some changes in Net position, which is your balance sheet statement of activities, which is your P&L. Our responsibility under professional standards and scope, we communicated these as required by the standards in our engagement letter dated August 6th, 2023. Qualitative aspects of accounting broken into various categories, accounting policies, no matters have come to our attention that require us to inform you about the effect of significant accounting policies in controversial or emergent areas, which there is a lack of authoritative guidance. No matters have come to our attention and require us to inform you about the methods used to account for significant unusual transactions. Management's judgments and estimates are a major part of all financial statements, especially the IDA. Compared to the LDC, there are more items of accounting estimates and judgment, management's judgments in areas such as OPEB, which we've talked about in the past, and GASB 68, which is the pension statement relative to the push down of the asset or liability from the state down to the local governments. Financial statements we have determined to be clear and consistent in the disclosures. We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management, and we thank Fred and Lisa and Lori and Jocelyn for their cooperation during the audit. The entire audit goes very smoothly with when you're dealing with high quality people like that. We had no disagreements with management. We, as I said, will be requiring a management representation letter, which is required by the standards prior to issuing our financial statement. There were no consultations, opinion shopping with other accountants or auditors, and none matters have discussed with us. Our responses thereto were a condition to our retention as your auditors. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. There were no prior period adjustments requiring the fixing of a prior year financial statement. These are areas of the deficiencies in internal control, the least of which is deficiencies in internal control. Combination of deficiencies or a significant deficiency would be the next category. And then, of course, the most serious category would be material weakness, which is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies in internal control that make it possible that there could be a material misstatement in the financial statements. And we're happy to report that there are no items of deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. This is an example of the management rep letter that management will be signing effective with today's date, hopefully, prior to us issuing the financial statement. It's standard disclosure. And that's all I have. Available for questions.
Board.
What did the IDA, what was the net financial position of the IDA at the end of 23?
The results of operation for the year produced an increase of $2.7 million to net position, which is the life to date equity, if you will. Beginning or the ending of the prior year, beginning of the current year was 6.7. So the net position was $9.4 million as a result of a pretty positive year, where revenues were $3.6 million compared to $1.7 million, due largely to 12 closings that happened, some very big ones, 3 in specific produced a revenue of 2.3. So there were 12 closings in 2023, and there were 9 closings in 2022, producing a very positive result. Operating expenses were up just marginally, but revenue was up 116%, and that produced a very nice result for the year.
Pretty good. And our cash position at the end of 23 was what?
At the end of 23, you had $10.7 million in unrestricted cash, $1.4 million in restricted cash. That compares to $7.9 million in unrestricted cash at the end of the prior year and $39,000 in restricted cash at the end of the prior year. So cash obviously jumped from roughly, let's call it 7.9 to almost to $12 million.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice work, Fred.
Thank you. No questions. We need to do two things. First of all, accept the report. Take a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's also typical for the board to meet with the accountants without management. I leave it up to you whether you'd like to do that. Gentlemen, ladies,
We can waive that. We can waive that.
I'm okay with it
No
too.
need, no need for that.
Yeah, I'm fine with waiving it.
Jeff, thanks very much to you and your staff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Braun. I appreciate as I said, the cooperation of the entire staff of the IDA, and they certainly make my job a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
Much of the credit for this goes to Lori and her preparation and presentation of the, the financial statement, which the transmittal letter now says is a representation of management, responsibility of management. And they do a few things to check and make sure that she knows what she's doing.
Which we all know she does.
She certainly does.
We could have told them that.
Yeah, we need a motion to close the IDA
So
audit
moved.
committee meeting.
Second,
All those in favor?
I,
We will now move to the regular meeting of the local development corporation. It is Tuesday, March 26th. It is 12:27. The following board members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pally, Mr. Polakowski, Ms. Scheich, Ron, and via Zoom, Mr. Brucci. A quorum is present. First order of business is to approve our minutes of the meeting of February 27th, which have been sent to everyone.
So moved.
Second,
second,
question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On to my report.
Yes, please.
Earlier today, a few minutes ago, we had a meeting.
ago.
A while ago. We had a meeting with our audit committee. The external auditors presented our audit for the financial statements, and the audit committee approved and accepted the financial statements. There were no issues mentioned. There were no problems during the audit. So I just want to present that to the board. They do have a resolution to accept the audit.
They should accept the recommendation of the audit committee.
So moved.
Second,
second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item I want to discuss is Paris. Paris, which would normally be due the end of the month. We ran into some difficulties this year. We lost access in April to the portal. We use the portal to get our full taxation numbers, which we're required to do in Paris. We've gathered a lot of information from different sources to pull the information together without having the portal, but we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, so Paris probably will be delayed.
Because
problem.
you have to review it and accept it before we can submit it. So we don't have it ready to share with you today. It'll be, I feel confident, available at our April meeting.
Is there a deadline for it?
March 31st is the deadline when it's due.
Okay.
We're going to miss that deadline.
Penalties or anything, or?
No,
No,
it's, I'll tell you, other than when we, during COVID,
COVID.
we've never missed the
we've
deadline
never missed
before.
it.
Okay.
And it's really just based on because of the portal issues, so.
Right.
We may be on a list. You may see us on a list at some point,
Yeah.
but there are no specific penalties.
Right.
From the AVO.
And lastly, I just want to read about our language about timely payments. All payroll taxes and withholdings have been paid timely in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports have been filed in a timely fashion as of today. Are there any other questions?
Hearing none. Motion to accept the report.
So moved.
No more.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lori, do we ever find out what's screwed up about the portal?
Well, it's our access. So we're on our own system now. We no longer
Ah,
have
okay,
access
okay.
to get right on the portal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like an external user of the portal, so we're limited with what we can and can't see, and we've given some of the projects that we added to our portfolio. There are many parcels,
Okay.
58 on one of them, 51, so
Sounds like
51
Ron
different
Cobb, yeah,
pieces
yeah.
we had to go and. So we're
Mhm.
double checking it and making sure we captured every.
A number of people are aware of the issue. It's being discussed at a higher level and hopefully it will be resolved in the not too distant future.
We'll get at
Okay.
it.
Just a couple quick comments from me on the board assessments, and I appreciate everybody getting those in. As we know, we really don't do any strategic planning. It's probably more appropriate for those IDAs upstate that have industrial parks, railroads, and other
Mhm.
capital assets. Not that we can't, but I think it's more appropriate at their level. Question about attendance of directors. It's been a challenge the past year. No question about that. One question that always comes up is how effective we are on the LDC in the community. It's the same thing with the IDA. I think part of that gets to what is the community? Is the community industrial, commercial industrial
Mhm.
complex, or is it include the community as a whole? I think we do a very good job in the commercial industrial area,
Yep.
maybe not so much on the other side. I'm not sure what the remedy for that is, but it is what it is. I was disappointed a little bit that, I think one director, as it related to finances, agreed with the rating scale, but I don't think I've been in another organization where we get more financial information than we do here, both on a monthly basis and through an audit where they don't have any. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but otherwise, I thought the board assessments came through pretty well. No major recommendations. But one other thing, and it's our own fault, is people would like to get the information earlier than they do, and it's our own fault because we've been very patient allowing people to submit information as opposed to the board meeting.
I have been more aggressive with that.
I know.
Barry knows too.
That's true.
Cause I wanna make sure that you guys have enough time to review everything.
So we're getting better.
We're getting
Good.
better, yep. And just so you know, these results have been sent as required to the ABO.
The only thing I would add, Fred,
Yeah.
on the, community issue, and obviously that depends to some degree on how you define it, is whether or not, we should do more outreach to maybe the local chambers and other groups in the town, not only so they understand that we're here and what we do, but they also would then understand what we don't do in some of those contexts. So that might be something that Lisa might want, and you might want to think about. You know, there are meetings of the Brookhaven chambers.
Yep.
It may be worthwhile to just do that.
Periodically, we do, go and present to them. I wouldn't say that we have an exact schedule, but periodically we present to them. So that, honestly, though, we usually present as the IDA. We don't talk about the LDC as
Right,
much,
yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
should. They're more interested
Yeah.
typically in
Yeah,
the
sure.
IDA, but maybe if we did the IDA and also LDC, but we'll work.
I mean, the
on
other
it.
issue is whether or not you want to do the same at civic association meetings and things like that,
Oh,
and I don't know the answer to that question. It just, maybe
A
it's
lot
a
of
thought.
times the chambers, I feel, a lot of times I feel like we're a little bit of a disappointment because we can't support most of the chamber
Right,
businesses.
Right,
Yeah.
And so they're excited to hear about us, and then you get a lot of, but my pizzeria.
What are you doing
can't
for
do
me?
it, And
Right.
we don't have things that we can do.
other than
So-
ordering lunch from them, we can't do
Yes,
anything else.
yes,
Mhm.
Right,
but, so that,
but it does get people to understand
yes.
what we can and can't do, so
And who
that
we
when,
are.
so that when
Mhm.
projects come up in their community, there may be a better understanding of that context.
And there's,
Yeah.
there's also a lot of people who are going to the chambers serve on boards of not-for-profits.
Right.
So
Exactly,
that
exactly.
connection
That
would
makes the
be,
LDC
yeah,
Yeah,
more attractive.
yes,
yeah. Okay,
we'll work on that.
Right, yeah.
I currently run a chamber and a civic, and I think that, what Mitch said is valid. The relationship when I pulled in Jim, Tulo to kind of just be there and have a conversation about some of the offerings that the IDA or the LDC had, result in some individuals, from our community who have projects in other places, to ask questions or to come to that specific meeting because they may, have an ask and answered, situation. So it's always helpful to build the relationship.
When you have a meeting and you have a gap with a speaker, let us know.
Yeah, no, it's just something that if you, and look at chambers that have, some space in the industrial and manufacturing area,
A lot of them.
so.
I attend the Mount Sinai Civic meetings for a whole host of reasons, and I try to get the message through there, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
Lori? I'm sorry, not Lori, Lisa?
Felix?
I'm aware that we can't be all things to all people. Has there ever been a study or a report done on where the real cutoff is for someone to take advantage of the offerings of either the LDC or the IDA? I know there's a lot of costs up front and ongoing costs and commitments that have to be made, and not all small businesses can meet those requirements. Is there a cutoff, like, if you're doing less than $100,000 a year, the IDA is not where you should be looking for help?
So Felix, it really is a case by case, because you could have a project that is very heavy with their sales tax. That's might not make sense. We look at each project and do a cost benefit, and if it's tipping that we're costing the project more than they're benefiting, then it doesn't make sense for them to come through us. And each of those, it depends on what their needs are. Typically, rule of thumb with the IDA is if it's $1 million, it's probably going to tip in their favor, but it really does depend on what they're doing. We've had projects that were basically sales tax only. If you're doing $1 million of sales tax, that's not going to make sense to come through us. You're going to have to spend a lot more money to make up the savings, to tip it in the favor of the business. And the LDC is completely different. That would have to be a few $1 million before it made sense with the costs, right, Barry?
Yeah, typically, it'd have to be over 5 million, and right around 10 million would definitely be in the tipping point, but over 5 million as a minimum.
Yeah.
Felix, most of the banks have small business units, and the federal regulators are really stepping up the Community Reinvestment Act, which goes back to, I think, the late 60s or early 70s, where there's almost a scorecard as to what those banks do in the community, which includes involvement in various civic and community functions, as well as business loans to small business. There's also the Stony Brook Small Business Group.
Yep.
You have an outfit called Pursuit, which does the SBA 504 loans, which is the second mortgage loans that I'm pretty familiar with. So there are a lot of other sources around where we don't fill the need. It's just a question of matching those people up to those sources.
And that was the reason for my question. Like I said, I know that we can't be all things to all people, and there's going to be a cost benefit, as Lisa pointed out, that you have to really see before you would want to take advantages and spend that money. But when we do that cost analysis, Lisa, and we find out that we're really not the agency that they should be looking to, are we making recommendations to them as to what other agencies are out there for their benefit?
So Felix, before we even figure out if we make sense, we make sure that they know they can come through us and all those other entities at the same time. So we don't even, before we even do that analysis to see if we make sense, we say, make sure that you speak to this group and that group. And we go through everyone that we think might be of assistance for their particular project. We get them in touch with National Grid. We get them in touch with Empire State Development. We get them in touch with PSE&G. So we give them a whole network of people that might be able to assist them, whether it makes sense for them to come through us or not.
Okay. last question, is there, not through us specifically, but is there an advocate out there that we could send them to that would help a small business go through the myriad of bureaucracy to find the right agency for them to deal with?
Totally. We send them routinely to the SBDC and they get free one-on-one counseling through the SBDC, the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center. There's Farmingdale also. Typically we send them to Stony Brook because local,
Right.
local option.
Felix, our Small Business Development Center sees at least 1,500 small businesses a year. They are one of the highest productivity SBDCs among the 24 in the state.
And Felix, the other thing that I was gonna say is we tell them, even if it doesn't make sense to come through the IDA, remember that you have a contact here. If you hit a roadblock somewhere, even if you're not coming through the IDA, I mean, it was really much more effective when we were economic development. We do less of this now, but we certainly answer calls and help people navigate whatever it is that they're trying to figure out. Just because I think
Thank
it's.
you. Appreciate the information.
Lisa, I know you and Fred and everybody are gonna be talking to some of my colleagues, I forget when, next week.
Coming up,
this week or
yep.
something. And one of them is the new director of the incubator programs. And we have never collaborated with you, and we should. As companies are growing to the point where they're gonna be moving out, we should be having them talk to you a year in
Well,
advance.
We
So that they
actually,
don't screw things up.
we've gone in and.
You have been aggressive in the nicest possible way.
Thank you. We've had conversations
Joe
and that's
DiPoli, for
part,
example.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
BioCogent was a great example of that. And that's part of the reason why we're having this meeting, because a lot of the people have changed.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we stay in front of them and they know that we reach out periodically, but they also have to alert us when they see something.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly.
that's what our meeting,
And Andrew, and also the folks who work with a lot of small businesses that are growing, that may be looking for bigger space sometime.
and we have actually met with the SBDC people also, just to make sure that they know, and I get contacts from the SBDC periodically, like, we think this business
be
might
a-
be a good, have a conversation with them, so we do it
Yeah,
regularly.
the
And
SBDC has been a really positive two-way street.
And I'll tell you, we have conversations with businesses and then I expect that our next meeting, we're going to have an application from a business that I spoke to about 15 years ago. So I have a lot of
Mhm.
conversations and I, when they don't come to fruition, I don't feel like it was a waste of my time. We planted the seed and when they're ready, they'll come back to us because they know that we're here. So I routinely have conversations that immediately don't go anywhere, but I know eventually they might. So I always feel like those are positive conversations, even if we don't get an application.
Like those flowers in Hawaii that only bloom once every 100 years or something, but faster than that.
Yes, yeah, well, I won't be around for that conversation, but.
And for me, the missing link is still to open that other building. But that's.
You and
that's
me
nothing-
both.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something we can do anything about, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still in the local development
We are.
meeting,
Oh,
so
okay.
if there are no further questions, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Go move.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now open up meeting of the Industrial Development Agency. It is Tuesday, March 26th. It is now 12:44. The following board members are present. Mr. Callahan, Mr. Pally, Mr. Polakowski, Ms. Scheich, Mr. Braun, via Zoom, Mr. Grucci, the quorum is present. I need a motion to accept the minutes of our meeting of February 27th. So
moved.
Second. Questions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Lori, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, earlier today, the audit committee met and with the external auditors, they presented the financial statement and their audit opinion, which was a clean opinion. The audit committee accepted the audit. And I presented for inclusion. What was the exact language you said?
Oh, You want me to say the exact language again? Yes. I think that the IDA should adopt the recommendation of the audit committee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in
Sure is
favor?
on.
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Adopt the recommendations. That will be the last time. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Paris, which is due March 31st, is in process. We ran into some snags due to the loss of getting the portal and all the full taxation information, which is required to be in Paris. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. We expect that to be completed and presented the Paris reports in the April meeting for your review.
And
So,
I just want to alert you to one other item with Paris. We have responses from all of our projects except for one. So we are sending a default letter since we've reached out, we sent letters, we sent emails, I left voicemails, they're just non-responsive. So Global Tissue is going to get
another one that never goes away.
yeah, well, maybe. They failed to respond. They failed to provide us the information that's required for us to complete Paris. Obviously, we could put Paris in if we were already with a gap in theirs, but it's, they haven't responded. So we're gonna send them a letter. Barry is, helping me with that one.
Yeah. They're almost at the end.
They have a few more years.
Do they?
Yeah. Two?
Two or three.
They
extended.
They have two more.
Two more?
Two more.
Okay.
Paris itself is not an easy system to negotiate. It hasn't been from day one. Very few improvements have been made through Ryan and Albany. We constantly complain about it. We've offered 2 or 3 years ago to be on a committee, come up with suggestions to make it user-friendly. So far, it's falling on deaf ears, unfortunately.
I don't seem interested.
And lastly, timely payments. All payroll taxes for the IDA and related withholdings have been paid in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports as of this point have been followed in a timely fashion. Lastly, all state regulatory payments, meaning pilot payments, have been made in accordance with the state timely fashion. So at this point, all the pilot payments have been made and received and dispersed for the first half.
And we'll start that process up again in a month and a half or so.
Josh, any delinquency? Everybody in? That's great.
Well, there
was
was
one.
There was one. We're all good.
We're good now.
Made the last disbursement last week, so we're
Okay.
done.
Any other questions for Lori? Any motion to accept her report?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
You're on.
Okay, so the first application on the agenda is okay, thank you, is for the AVR SP Brookhaven subtenant. Tate's Bake Shop is planning on moving into that building. To remind everyone, this was a spec industrial building located in the Shirley Industrial Park. It was constructed and they have an end user in it, so that's a good news. It's a 7-year lease for the entire roughly 150,000 square foot, yeah,
Great.
facility. They are moving their 30 employees from space that they were leasing in West Hampton to the Shirley location, and the salary ranges are from 41,000 to about 94,000, and this is a subtenant application, so I'm asking that you accept this application and approve it, and then I will sign the tenant agency compliance agreement and finalize everything with that project.
So move.
Second, I would tell you, I've been by it a number of times the last month, and as recently as yesterday, there certainly is activity. So,
Want to do the resolution? first?
all those in favor?
Aye.
We just
Aye.
We did, they did.
Just did the
Okay.
application.
Oh, just the application?
application.
Okay, so let's do a resolution so that I can sign
Okay.
the tenant agency compliance. I'm sorry, that's what I meant when I said that.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is Nassau Provisions Kosher Food. Included in your packets was a cost benefit analysis, the application with the pilot and their cover letter. We held a public hearing for this morning. There were no comments. This project is wholesale distributor of food products. They are expanding to an underutilized 50,000 square foot building at 885 Waverly Avenue in Holtzville. They're keeping their current location that they have in Islip and at 700 Burrows Road. So this is an expansion. It is a $9.96 million project. They're requesting mortgage recording tax, sales tax, and a pilot. They have 103 employees at the Islip location. Those 103 employees are staying in Islip, and they're gonna add 17 at this new location. What I'm asking is that you accept the application and do the final authorizing resolution. And the reason that we're doing this is, especially since it's an existing building, the timing for them to close is short. So we, did the public hearing, like I mentioned this morning.
You wanna say who the seller of the business? No.
It's, For America owns the building currently, and they're gonna be selling it.
Lisa, what type of
Felix?
jobs are being created at the new facility?
They're warehouse positions. Is that what you mean?
Yes, they're not gonna be doing any preparation of food or where
No,
they
it's
need
just-
more employees. This is just strictly
It's-
warehousing.
They're a wholesale distribution facility, so they don't do food prep anyway,
Okay.
but it's an
What do
expansion of their.
what do they do in Islip that requires 117 employees?
I think in Islip, they have warehouse, but they also have their back office. They have their entire operation in Islip, and now they're expanding their warehouse only facility to this, and it works well for them because it's close, so they can navigate between the two facilities.
Okay. I'd love to see them create more jobs here, but 17 at those prices are not bad.
Well, there was nothing there, so we'll take the 17.
Yeah. There was one employee, I actually knocked on the door a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago.
I'm not opposed to the project. I was just wondering what they needed, why they needed 117 in Islip and only, what was it, 17 here in Brookhaven?
It's a warehouse facility.
Okay, got it.
We need a motion to accept the application and
So moved.
for the
So
final
moved.
resolution.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is organizational resolution number 29. So, 29 and 30 are our, accrual policies for management and non-management. And what I'm proposing is that we add a provision to these resolutions, for comp time, so that if it's approved in advance and somebody has a meeting to go to after hours, if they do their full 7-hour workday and then do an additional amount of time, nights and mornings and nights is most realistic, then they would be able to, in the same pay period, use comp time, so they wouldn't have to use their paid time off. And I'm suggesting that for both management and non-management.
Questions? Need a resolution?
So move.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Do we need to do those should we do?
No, you did them
Together?
You
Okay,
did them
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is Brookhaven Solar Invest. Just to remind everybody, at our last meeting, you accepted an application for this project. It's a solar installation on 3.5 acres at the Holtzville Ecology Center. It's the old landfill site. It's approximately a $2 million project. In your package was the cost benefit analysis and the pilot. We had a public hearing this morning. There was no comment. And I am presenting to you the final authorizing resolution for this project.
Motion,
So
So
moved.
moved.
question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request that we received from Well Life. This is the Medford Gardens project, and just to remind everybody, this is a proposed 100% affordable housing project. There's also an article that was included in your packets about this project. They're requesting an extension of their resolution. They asked for 180 days from April 27th, which brings them to roughly October of 2024. If you read their letter, they explained that they expect to close sometime in the late fall. I'm afraid that October cuts it a little bit tight for them, and not that we couldn't bring it back and have you guys vote on it again in October if they do need more time. But since we're taking the time to go through this, I thought we might just want to give them a little more time, maybe December 31st of 2024.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
they are, from what I'm reading, they are totally dependent on the state of New York.
Correct.
Yes.
And so once one is totally dependent on the state of New York, the longer the period of time given, the better it is.
Yes.
In that context, because they only meet twice a year for financing.
Yeah.
So I would agree, let's give them till December 31st. If they close in October, great. If they
Right.
don't, we
We
don't
can
have to
always
go through this
extend it,
again.
yeah.
I would agree.
Would you care to move that?
I would move that.
Second. Thanks, Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Lisa,
Howard?
I have a quick question. I may have misunderstood, but did we adopt the resolution, the final authorizing resolution for Nassau provisions?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did it
Yeah.
all in one,
I,
we did it all.
yeah, I misunderstood. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the mission statement and measurement report. At the last meeting, we discussed adding just a few words just to give us a little more round out our mission statement a little bit. And Barry was kind enough to add so the words including but not limited to commercial, industrial projects, housing projects, and energy projects. So just to read the whole sentence to you, the sentence says, the mission of the town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency is to improve the quality of life for Brookhaven town residents by promoting and assisting the growth of businesses that will increase employment opportunities, increase the commercial tax base, and are sensitive to the quality of the environment, including, but not limited to, commercial industrial projects, housing projects, and energy projects. So it goes on and it says to accomplish our mission.
But that's the only change.
That's the only
That's it.
change. So if you're good with that,
We need a motion.
So move.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne Marie.
Second, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Barry.
I was sweating that one.
we will update our mission
Goes back to my
statement.
legislative bill draft,
Yeah.
including but not limited to.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's my best friend.
Yeah. I don't know, best friend is notwithstanding. That's the best.
Do you want to talk about the board assessment?
Yeah, I would just echo exactly what I said in the LDC as it relates to the board assessments. Nothing different there. I agree with Mitch, and to the extent board members want to participate in any civic meetings, go along with Lisa
Mhm.
or
Oh,
Amy.
sure.
Just raise your hand when it comes up,
Mhm.
and we'll make sure we include you.
Okay.
Okay.
Few more items. We received a request from ABLI for sponsorship. They are having an event on Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. It's the ABLI and Commercial Industrial Brokers Society, SIBS, are having their 27th annual Long Island Real Estate Dinner. It's at the Heritage Club at Bethpage. And so, couple of things. Does anybody want to attend, and do we want to sponsor?
I will go.
I will go. And I think it's important that we sponsor.
Yeah, I'd go.
Yeah,
I mean, these are the people we work with.
Yep.
and
We should
Kyle
sponsor it.
Kyle is a great advocate and
Yeah.
always ready to step in and help us.
No, we should do that.
So I heard
Marty wants to know whether there's gonna be any pickleball.
at the.
They don't have pickleball there.
I don't think.
They have
there's
golf. They have
pickleball.
golf.
Yeah, they have golf.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
I'll ask
June eleventh,
Kyle.
I mean, it'd be a good day for golf.
Yeah.
Take a shower and come to
Beautiful
the
golf.
thing.
Yeah.
Better than today.
So the
Can't do
silver
it today, but-
sponsorship, which includes 3 tickets, is 2,500. Gold sponsorship, which includes 5 tickets, is 5,000. And then platinum is 10,000 with 10 tickets.
Why don't we hold off for a little bit until you find out who wants to
Anybody
attend?
else?
We'll adjust
How
accordingly.
many tickets?
All
So
right,
you're gonna authorize it, or you don't need to? You could do it at the next meeting.
Well, we can, I have no motion. I'll
Yeah.
move
I would like to go,
authorize it.
so if you know how many
We don't
tickets.
So
Yeah.
at least 3 here, probably 4.
Mhm.
So you need the
Sounds-
5 one.
Sounds like 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to just do that, the gold?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have we contributed to this in the past?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have, we're members, and I think
Yes.
we have, but I wouldn't swear to that.
No, I think we have done the
I
best.
think so.
Yeah.
Felix, the other thing is Kyle Strober, who runs that organization, is now a board member of our organization up in Albany. So we're getting, we're closer and closer.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking is let's use that as the baseline, and if, we need to go above that, it'll depend upon how many people want to go.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, so
Okay.
do we have a motion? Do we-
So moved.
Yes.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that actually, what you said about New York State EDC ties very nicely into the next item on, I'm taking them out of order. The next item on the agenda. So I'm sorry, everybody, there's a lot of
Got a party
activity
outside?
in the hallway, so if, I apologize if
They have
that's
enough light?
distracting. I don't know.
Somebody just hugged somebody else, so.
Okay, good.
I think it's.
The building department's on the first floor.
Are they workers or?
I don't know.
Nobody
New York
cares
State
anymore.
EDC has sent us a request for a sponsorship. They have their annual, their 2024 annual meeting. It's May 22nd to the 24th in Cooperstown. We have sponsored this in the past. We are members of EDC, so it's sort of a
Mhm.
twofold. Do we want to sponsor? And then also, does anybody want to attend? I know Fred is attending.
I think Mitch may,
I'm not gonna be able
oh,
to.
you can,
I
okay.
can't. The
That's like
dates-
what, Memorial
The
Day
dates don't
weekend?
work.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah,
before
Memorial Day weekend. I'd love to. Got my leather stocking sweater on,
Oh,
but
that's a nice
this year it
course.
just didn't work. Oh,
I've been there before.
Should go.
beautiful.
If anybody wants to attend, let us know sooner than later. so
Okay.
The hotel can be.
I would make a
Nice.
motion to authorize the sponsorship.
Um,
At 5,
it's 55 this year. It's
Okay.
45 or 55.
55.
55, yeah.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's that?
Second,
Second.
okay, thank you. All those in favor?
You get to stay at the
Aye.
hotel.
Thank
That's an
you.
old.
So the last item on the agenda before executive session is a project list. Fred had asked me to put this together.
Yeah.
It's very basic. So we can build on it. We can give you different information. We can provide whatever else you think is helpful. But that's just sort of where we are with projects that are in the works, although.
Was that the Excel spreadsheet these?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it I don't think it made it to this, but it was emailed. to
It was, I
everybody.
saw.
Oh, okay.
On the ones that say need public hearing.
Yeah.
Are we're dependent upon them to ask us for a date, or how does that work?
Well, they have to have a lot of ducks in a row.
Right.
So we're
Mhm.
waiting for those ducks to be in a row, and I usually talk to them and say, are you ready? What's going on with
Right.
this? So it's sort of it's a
But this,
conversation.
to a large degree, we are dependent upon them providing the information first
Yes,
to get to a level to hold the public hearing.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And some of those projects that we're waiting on the public hearing might never move forward. Some of
Right.
them might have the public hearing and then never move forward. Some of them are gonna, like come in right away, need a public hearing and just be
Right.
in and on and off that list. I don't know if I don't recall if I put national provisions. I probably didn't because you hadn't seen the application yet. but that one might never actually make that list because we might close on it before it has time
Really
to.
just a status report.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if,
but to a large degree, we are dependent upon the company itself to get to that point. Rare in almost cases,
Yeah,
right,
but it's here.
right,
yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's just, I'm gonna try to keep that updated and send it out to you, monthly, every other month, maybe, if there's no changes, and just, give you guys a little more information, because sometimes projects come in, you accept an application, and then I'm sure you're like, whatever happened to that? So then you'll know, what's going on, and always, if you have questions, just let me know, but if you see something that you think would be helpful to add, or if I could articulate it in a way that's clear, just, again, let me know.
Anything else? If not,
Executive session.
yes, motion to go into executive session, please.
So moved.
So-
Second.
Okay.
Oh, what are we going into executive session?
Discuss matters of personnel.
Yes, thank you.
pending litigation.
and the next meeting is April 17th.
Yes,
12 to 2.
12 to 2?
Well, that's what my
There's not-
calendar says, but my calendar does not dictate everybody
No,
else's calendar.
No, that's good,
That's fine, as long as it's good with.
that's good, okay.
I'm gonna pause.
Okay,
Me an email.
Okay, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Okay.
I need a motion to sell the existing automobile that's on the IDA's books. So we'll combine that with a motion to provide Lisa with a $1,000 per month stipend to cover her automobile expenses.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anything else that needs to come before this august body? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Gary, good luck.
Thank
Yeah,
Thank you.
And we'll expect samples here at some point.
Absolutely, yes.
We look forward to quality development.
Thank you. QA, I always like QA.